Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how I coded in Sketchup to find the civil cost, including the cost of sand, aggregate, cement, the cost of plastering and the cost of granite all together in just few clicks. So let's get started. So this is a sample of a 3D model of a house I have created. This is just a simple prototype without any finishing. So here I have drawn everything, including the brick soling and then PCC and then RCC and then wall footing, pillars and then beams and then the slabs, etc. Now to calculate the cost, what I do is I press Ctrl A button so that it will select all the model, and then I'll go to extensions. So this is the extension that I have written. So it is inside the click and design button. So we go to this button which says calculate cost, or we can directly press the shortcut key Ctrl plus Shift plus C button. So by clicking this, it will give a dialog box. So here you need to input the different criteria. For example, the RCC ratio. This is something related to the grade of concrete, that is M20 or M15 or something like that. So if we are going to use M20, so you can use 1:1, 1.5:3, and then you can choose whatever you want. If you want M10, you can change the ratio as you wish. And the PCC ratio, so for PCC we generally use the ratio 1:3:6, so you can change. And for mortar, for plastering, generally it's taken as 1:4, and the shrink percentage when the concrete is mixed with water, so 54% of it is reduced, so 54% is taken as the shrink percentage, and in mortar only 33% is taken. You can change by yourself. And I have taken the wastage percentage as 5%. So the brick size you can input here in centimeter, and usually in brick masonry what I found was that around 40% of the volume of the bricks is covered with mortar, so I have used a 40%. You can use more or less as per your site. And in stone masonry I found it that the masons are putting more mortar in it, so I have used here 50%. And in RCC I have used the rod percentage as 2.5%. So you can reduce this percentage if you are working on the slab, or if you are working in the pillar you can increase the rod percentage. And as per the market, the OPC cement rate is 650, and then the PPC cement is per bag 550 rupees. So I have considered this rate from Nepal, so this is totally related with Nepal. And stones per tip, so usually per trip means around 2.75 meter cube of the vehicle is used, so this costs around 6,000 rupees. And brick per piece is around 16 rupees. And the sand, the crusher sand per trip is 8,000. So per trip meaning the around the 3 meter cube or 2.75 meter cube of the vehicle. And aggregate is 6,500, boulder is 5,000. And you can also change the truck volume. For example, if you bring the materials in a big size truck, you can input the truck volume over here by measuring the length, breadth and height of the vehicle and multiply to get the volume. And rod per kg is 90 rupees, but I think it has changed now, so you can increase the rate as per your wish. The cement density is almost constant as 1440, and the rod density is around 7880, but it may vary according to the different brands like Jagadamba, Panchagana, etc. But generally we can take it as the good tentative result. And for plastering we can use the ratio as 1:5, and then the plaster sand is somewhat less expensive than the crusher sand, so it's 7,500 as per the site. And the plaster thickness is taken to be 0.5 inches, so this is an inch. So if we press on OK, so it will input all these values and get the volume of all the elements on the house, and then calculate the cost in just 1 second. So at the result what you can get is Suppose for example OPC around 412 bags is used. At the rate of 650 it will cost around 2,68,000 rupees, and PPC we need around 300 PPC, so the rate is 550 and the cost is this much. So crusher sand we need 21 trucks or vehicles of that sand. At the rate of 8,000 it will cost this. Aggregate we need 18.6 vehicles, that means around 19. So this is done by looking at the site. So I have tried to get to the nearest result on the site. I have also used the wastage factor and the factor at site so that we can get to the nearest result as possible. So bricks, around 16,000 number of bricks are needed. So at the rate of 16 it will cost around 2,66,000. So stones, these are used for the wall footing, so at the cost of 6,000 it costs 49,000. And for boulder, these are used for soling, so 3 trucks of boulders are needed for soling. And rods, around 10,000 kgs of rod is required. So as you can see, the rods cost extremely higher than other elements. It costs around 9,58,000. Plaster sand, we can only finish it within 3 trucks, so at the rate of 7,500 it will give 22,000. So total cost of this house is 20,36,000. As you can see, this is the rate, this is the total cost of the house according to the input parameters, but by changing the input parameters you can see the result by yourself. For example, this is a house made in the concrete mix design of 1:2:3. Let's consider another example. I'll press Ctrl+Shift+C again and change this RCC ratio as 1:1.5:3. So it will be nearest to the M20 grade. So in the previous calculation we used 1:2:3, but here we used 1:1.5:3. That means more cement will be used and our cost will be slightly higher than the previous result. Let's press OK again and see the result. So in the previous case it was 20,36,000, and in this case it's 20,54,000. So we can guess that around 18,000 rupees is increased while we use a greater strength concrete than the less strength concrete. So while constructing a house, it is also a good parameter to know whether we need to construct the house in M20 or M25 or whatever that reason is. And the feature of this plugin is also that we sometimes need to calculate the cost not for the overall house but also some specific portions. For example, let's consider only the pillars. So what we do is we select the pillars. So I have already grouped these pillars. So again we are going to extensions, click in design, and then calculate the cost. Then the same parameters, let's input here and press OK. So you can see this will calculate the cost only for these pillars. So for the pillars we need 48 bags of OPC cement, so 7 bags of PPC cement to plastering on the outer surface of the pillars, and then we need 1 trip of crusher sand and around 2 trips of aggregate. So it total cost is 1,72,000 to construct only the pillars. So this is highly applicable because sometimes the cost of the cement and rods may vary after constructing the 1-story building. So you can easily select the 1 story and then calculate the cost by using a different rate, and then for the 2nd story you can select these and calculate the cost for the 2nd story separately and add them. So in this way you need not calculate each and every dimensions in Excel using 2D AutoCAD file, but you can easily visualize the calculations in your own. And another feature is given is that you can select all, Control A, go to extensions, click in design, and then extract all groups. So what does it do is it calculates all the volumes of the elements over here, and you can see the detailed calculations of the cost from this way. So let's click on extract all groups, Again, the input parameters are here, and let's press OK. So it will take some time to process. So after completing, it will create a file in Excel. As you can see, it is creating the file over here like this, BIMs, and it is creating the volume, the frustum, which is located on the bottom part of the pillar. As you can see, it has also given the volume for seals and lintels. And the wall footing is started over here. And then for the staircase, it has created this volume. And for parapet wall, railing, and then the value for granite also it has given. There might be some discrepancies or some errors in calculating. For example, it has calculated -1, so it is still on the way to be corrected. So this is for the soldering volume, and this is for PCC, this is for walls. And then after creating all the data of the groups, so it will summarize everything written there. So in the first sheet, it calculates all the groups. So in the second sheet, it will create the summary. For example, in base pillar, it will include all the base pillars over there. In pillar, it will include all the pillars over there, and so on. And in the final items, it will calculate the total amount of RCC needed, PCC needed, bricks, stones, boulders, and plaster needed. And then at last, it will create the overall materials that is required according to the rate and calculate the total cost. So you can easily get this Excel file in just one click. So this is quite flexible to work on, and the most important part is that, for example, suppose you created a 3D drawing and then the client wants to add some rooms, or there were some contingency works left over there. So now you change something in this 3D model, then you can again select all and then extension, click in design and calculate cost, and the cost will be easily calculated without any recalculation in the Excel file. So this is all about the coding. It is still to be completed. I have only put here the civil cost. I'm working on the cost of the tiles and the finishing parts also, but the finishing part is quite a vague topic, because the finishing part usually ranges from the very small cost to very high cost. So I think that is not the good way to do it. We can just assign the percentage over there, but for the civil cost, we can get to almost the nearest detail estimate of the house. So if you are working on the big projects, this will be a very time saver for you. So if you want this click on, you can just mail me on the mail that I have provided in the description box below. Till then, thanks for watching and keep learning.